Yeah, I want to go over like rust proofing things, like especially on the underside of the car, on a vehicle. You want, especially in the wintertime, you got a lot of subjectivity to road corrosion, rocks, salt, and especially if you're going on roads that kick up a lot of junk, you'll get rust because it'll chip through the paint. And most cars don't come with undercoating. Now, I'm going to recommend you don't use undercoating, because unless it's the last step. Sometimes they used to use rubberized automotive undercoating, but it was the last step. But the first thing to do is get everything clean. Now, I'm going to use a type of primer that you don't need to get all the rust off, and I'm going to coat it again with not chassis saver. I'm going to use rusty metal primer because it's actually easier to do, because it's sprayable, and also use spray truck bed lining. Now, for getting this stuff clean, a lot of people, you can use a pressure washer or whatever the hell it is. Now, this is a skid plate on a Jeep. It's got a slight amount of surface rust on it, very tiny amount. But what I'm going to do is just simply hose it off, use a scrub brush, and this is basically like Dawn dish detergent, except it's the Walmart brand. That's a very powerful cleanser. And bleach white. This stuff used to be called Wesley's bleach white. Now, that's for whitewall tire cleaner, but I found that stuff breaks down dirt and grime better than any damn thing out there. You name it, whatever product it is. This product, it used to be called something else. Now it's called Black Magic Tire Cleaner, but it used to be Wesley's bleach white. You can use it on vinyl floors, everything. It'll work on paint, it won't screw up. I used it on carpets, I used it on upholstery, you name it. And I'll put it on there straight, then rinse it off with water, and then pull the, use the wet dry vacuum to pull it out. But what I'm going to do is rinse this down with some water, spray it down with this stuff, let it soak in, and then clean it a couple times, basically with this scrub brush. So, the simplest thing is to just douse it with a little bit of water. God damn it. And it don't have to be a lot of water, that's the thing. Just enough, because you don't want to put this Wesley shit on. I call it Wesley's because that used to be the name. But put it on there. This stuff is designed for cleaning tires. That's why I like it. You don't need a lot of it, just let it sit. And it'll really break down the dirt. Then, I'll use the scrub brush, some of the blue stuff, blow it off with air, and I'll show you what kind of paint I use. It's a special high-zinc paint, and then after that, go over with spray truck bed lining. You might want to do this on spot parts of your car that you want to save on the underside, especially in the wintertime, because once rust starts, that's the problem. It's easy to, you want to kill it early, because if there's any kind of rust starting, you know what happens. It becomes a major problem. So again, with this stuff, I keep calling it Wesley's bleach white, but I remember I've been using this for like, I don't know, about 40 years. It's Black Magic bleach white. I guess they bought them out. But you let it sit on there. You let it sit. Use a little bit of water with it. And it really eats up the dirt better than any damn cleanser I've ever seen. And one other thing, if you got a little pressure washer, I always got this little electric one I always use all the time. It works pretty good. And it's good because it knocks off all the loose stuff. So the thing is, if you don't have this, you don't have to use it. You can just use a hose, but it would be smart to invest in a little pressure washer, something like that. That's a little one I got, and I don't pressure wash that much, but I use this for cleaning car parts. And also, I'll hook it up to the hot water tank on the house. I actually have a Y fitting, and if I want to use pure 220 degree hot water, it'll really degrease the hell out of anything. Then the next step is to blow this off with air. And I'm going to show you what type of paint. Now, what I'm going to do this, the way I'm going to paint this is not with chassis saver, because certain parts are going to be like smooth metal, and you don't want to put chassis saver on smooth metal. You want to put it on rough metal. Plus, you don't really want to put it over old paint sometimes too. You can put it over rust, or you can put it over sandblasted or sanded metal or rough metal, or some rust, light rust, that's clean. But what I'm going to do though is I'm going to use a type of paint that has a lot of zinc oxide in it. Then I'm going to go over it with truck bed lining. So what you need to do, like if you're going to do this with your car or your truck or your Jeep or whatever the hell it is, your work truck, and you don't want it to rust, this is the type of stuff you want to do, especially paying careful attention to the inside of the panels. Now, to speed up the air drying process, you can use compressed air. I realize a lot of people don't have air compressors and stuff like that. What you can use is a leaf blower. You can use a leaf blower and it'll work fine, and that'll speed up the air drying process. So you'll get a little light dirt on it, but you're talking about this is going to be coated underneath the car, and a little light dirt don't matter. It's really what's important is you want to get off any loose paint, loose rust, and grease. A tiny bit of light dirt from the leaf blower ain't going to matter. That's not going to matter, because you're going to put heavy zinc oxide primer on it and truck bed lining. Now, if you're up north and it's super cold out and you want to be doing this type of stuff, you want to be inside a garage, and the only way you're going to be able to do this is not even with a kerosene heater. You're going to have to use like a forced air space heater, the kind that you plug in, plus uses electric and kerosene and diesel, preferably the kerosene. I used to have like a big heavy duty contractor one. I think it put out like 90 or 100,000 BTUs, and if you want to dry off parts and you want to dry off the underside of the car, if you got it up on jack stands, that'll do it. And so I blew this off with the air hose, just using the air hose like that right there, and it's all dry. Now, I'm not going to use chassis saver on this because it's already painted. Now, you could use that stuff. It wouldn't be bad to use it, but what I'm going to do is I'm using this stuff. Now, this is not red oxide primer. This is rusty metal primer from Rust-Oleum. This junk, I figured out, it really will go over rust. It'll stick good, and it'll stop all the rust from forming again. It's got a heavy zinc base in it. So, I got cardboard under here so I don't get that table all screwed up. And just go over it and get into. Now, I blew all the air, I blew all the water out of there, so you want to get in there. It's all chemically cleaned good, because when I use those two products, the tire cleaner and the dish detergent, it really cleaned it up, plus the pressure washer. Then there's going to be one more step after this. Now, this is the only thing that's wrong with this stuff. It sticks on here really good, and it really stops the rust, and it goes right over rust. It goes over paint. It goes over bare metal. And the important consideration, where if you might have some smooth bare metal like this, like chassis saver might not be the best thing to put over smooth bare metal. You want to put this stuff. And there's one more thing I'm going to put over this, and you'll see what it is. And this will be rock solid. It'll last for decades. Is to put some truck bed lining on it that's pretty dry. So I use the spray can stuff. It's more expensive, but I'm not doing large areas with it. And it gets in these parts, like in there, like in the crannies and nooks and crannies and stuff. So, thing is with this junk, you don't want to use that rubberized undercoating, because rubberized undercoating is good if you went and did this first, and then you put it over that. You might be okay then, because then you're basically sealing in the rust. That rubberized undercoating isn't that great. It's better than the regular undercoating, but I remember they used to sell it and says it keeps out the water and shit. It doesn't really. But when you're using this truck bed lining, you're pretty much impervious to any kind of dings and crap that's going to be coming up from the road. It's pretty strong stuff, and the zinc oxide Rust-Oleum primer is a good base for this junk. It really is. So the main thing is you want to make sure you got all the loose stuff off, so you blast it off with the pressure washer if you got one. If you don't, use the hose, use the brush, and use that stuff I talked about, the tire cleaner. It's by Black Magic. It used to be by Wesley's. It really chemically cleans it. Plain old dish detergent, good brand of that. And to speed the process up of drying, if you're in the winter, you could do this in the winter. Use your space heater. If you have a construction space heater, they might run you $100-something, but they're worth getting. If you can make yourself even a carport or something out of cloth, you can work on this, because once you get rust, you got major problems. This is a pain in the ass. It's work, but a lot of people sit down and watch television all day. Yeah, you just got to get out there and do it. And if you got the space heater, even if you're in 0-degree weather, I remember using that damn thing. I used to put the garage up to 80 degrees inside of like 30 minutes with that damn thing. That's called a construction forced air space heater. I think it was around 90,000 BTUs. But if you paint something and you use that stuff, that space heater, talk about, you can make the paint dry really fast too. That's another thing that's an advantage to it. So just want to pass on these tips, because in the wintertime, people are getting a lot of rust on their cars, and especially, the working guys that have trucks and stuff. Hey, the trucks can last 50 years. The problem is the damn rust. That's really what it is. Okay, so that's been all chemically cleaned. All the loose stuff's been taken off. Went over it with zinc oxide, Rust-Oleum rusty metal primer, and it's got a coat of truck bed lining. And I know you buy these cans like this, they're more money. But the thing is, if you're doing a lot of little parts, in my opinion, it's better to get these kind of the cans. Especially, you can put it in a spray gun. It's a pain in the ass. Just to grab the can for little parts is pretty good, because it just didn't even take a quarter of a can to do this. And you want to make sure you get up in here. This is really where the rust starts. It's in these seams. It's all this kind of crap in here that, you miss if you're brushing this on. So, I recommend the cans, like if you're like a homeowner. It's more expensive to get it that way, but if you're doing the underside of your car in pieces, you see a little bit of frame that's got some rust, hey, you do this. You take care of it one step at a time, and it adds up, and then you can keep your car, truck, Jeep, or whatever forever. Next step is to do the trailer hitch, and I'll be doing the gas tank too, but just remember, in the wintertime, that's what actually screws up your cars the most, is the rust, man. So, and that's really your problem, man. If cars did not rust out, they'd still be running from the 50s, 40s, and 30s. It's rust that kills everything, and the products we got today will take care of it and keep it from rusting for decades.